Ladies and gentlemen, today we gather to explore a profound truth that has resonated throughout the ages: that God is above all. This concept is not simply a religious belief. It is a deep spiritual understanding that transcends human limitations and offers clarity, peace, and purpose in a world filled with uncertainty. As we reflect on the infinite wisdom and power of God, let us consider 5 key points that help us embrace the truth that God is above all. When we speak of the divine order within creation, we are recognizing the profound intelligence that permeates everything around us. From the grand design of galaxies and the vast expanse of the universe, to the intricate processes occurring within the cells of our bodies, there is an undeniable sense of order and purpose. This order is not a random accident. It is a reflection of the divine intelligence that underpins all of existence. If we pause and reflect on the way the universe operates, we begin to see evidence of this divine order everywhere. Take, for example, the laws of nature, the laws of gravity, thermodynamics, and motion. These laws are constants that govern the physical world. They don't shift or change based on our whims or desires. They are eternal and consistent. This consistency is a manifestation of divine law, a system that ensures balance and harmony in all things. Similarly, within the natural world, we observe cycles and patterns that repeat over time: the changing of the seasons, the migration of animals, the growth and decay of life. These cycles serve as a reminder of the divine intelligence at work, guiding the rhythms of life to ensure that everything has its place and its time. Even in times of hardship, such as a natural disaster or a personal loss, these cycles reassure us that life is constantly evolving and that change is part of a larger, greater purpose. On a more personal level, when we align ourselves with this divine order, we start to see patterns and connections in our own lives that we might have previously overlooked. We begin to notice synchronicities, moments when things fall into place with a kind of ease that feels almost otherworldly. This isn't coincidence. This is the divine order in action, guiding us toward the experiences and lessons we need for growth. Moreover, divine order teaches us that everything has meaning, even in moments of struggle or uncertainty. Each event, no matter how challenging, has a purpose in the grand scheme of things. When we embrace this understanding, we can shift our perspective from one of frustration or confusion to one of trust and acceptance. We realize that we are not victims of random forces. We are part of a much greater design, one that has been carefully planned by the divine. This understanding empowers us to live with a sense of purpose, knowing that we are always moving in the right direction, even when the path isn't immediately clear. In the end, the recognition of divine order helps us to surrender to the flow of life. We stop fighting against the natural rhythms of existence and instead align ourselves with them. In doing so, we come to a deeper understanding of our place in the world and our role within this vast and beautifully ordered creation. Trusting in this divine order allows us to live with peace, knowing that everything, whether good or bad, has its rightful place in the great tapestry of life. When we consider God as the source of life and consciousness, we are acknowledging a truth that speaks to the very core of our existence: that everything we are, our breath, our thoughts, our feelings, and our experiences, originates from a divine source. This truth isn't just philosophical or spiritual. It speaks to the fundamental nature of what it means to be human, to be alive, and to be conscious. At the most basic level, life itself is a gift, a divine spark that flows from the source, and it is this spark that animates our bodies and gives rise to our experience of reality. The act of breathing, for example, is something we often take for granted, but when we pause to reflect, we realize that our breath is both a gift and a reflection of the divine. Each breath is a constant reminder that God, the source of life, sustains us moment by moment. Without this life force, we would cease to exist. Yet, as we breathe in, we are also breathing in the divine presence, connecting to something far greater than ourselves. Beyond physical life, we also experience consciousness, which is the ability to be aware, to think, to reflect, and to experience. Consciousness allows us to engage with the world around us, to ask questions, and to seek meaning. But where does this consciousness come from? It is not merely the product of biological processes or brain activity. Rather, it is a divine gift, a part of the eternal essence of God that allows us to perceive, to feel, and to engage with the divine nature within and around us. Our consciousness connects us to the divine intelligence that underlies all of creation. It is through this consciousness that we can sense a deeper meaning and purpose in life. The awareness we have of ourselves, of our existence, and of the world around us is not accidental. It is part of the divine plan. This ability to know and to experience is a reflection of God's will for us to awaken to our true nature and to understand the greater purpose of our lives. When we acknowledge that God is the source of both life and consciousness, we begin to realize that we are not isolated beings moving aimlessly through the world. We are intricately connected to a divine consciousness that permeates all things. Every thought, feeling, and experience we have is part of this larger tapestry of divine creation. In this way, we are not separate from God. We are expressions of God's divine consciousness, experiencing life through the lens of our own unique awareness. Moreover, this awareness of God as the source of our consciousness offers a profound shift in perspective. When we understand that our minds and hearts are attuned to the divine, we begin to see ourselves not as limited, finite beings, but as conduits for divine will and wisdom. Every thought we think, every emotion we feel, is an opportunity to align more closely with the divine nature within us. When we begin to believe that our minds and hearts are attuned to the divine nature within us, this alignment brings with it a deeper sense of peace and purpose. It means that we can access a higher level of consciousness, one that transcends fear, doubt, and confusion. We begin to trust that our thoughts and actions can be guided by the divine consciousness that flows through us, helping us navigate life's challenges with greater clarity and compassion. Additionally, recognizing that God is the source of life and consciousness calls us to a deeper level of responsibility. Our thoughts, words, and actions have power because they are manifestations of the divine will in this world. This realization invites us to live more intentionally, to be conscious of how we express our divine nature, and to use our awareness to create lives that reflect love, truth, and compassion. In conclusion, understanding God as the source of both life and consciousness is a transformative realization. It shifts us from seeing ourselves as isolated individuals to recognizing that we are expressions of a higher divine intelligence. It deepens our connection to the world around us, enhances our capacity for love and understanding, and empowers us to live in alignment with the divine will that flows through us. Through this awareness, we discover a profound sense of purpose, knowing that our lives are intricately woven into the fabric of God's eternal design. The mind is one of the most profound gifts we have been given. It is the seat of our thoughts, beliefs, and perceptions. When we recognize that God is above all and that we are a part of His divine creation, we must also acknowledge the immense power our minds hold. This power is not simply intellectual, it is creative. Through our thoughts, intentions, and beliefs, we shape not only how we experience the world, but also the reality we live within. The mind, when aligned with the divine, can become a powerful tool for transformation. One of the most fundamental principles of understanding the mind's power is recognizing that thoughts create reality. Every thought, whether conscious or subconscious, carries with it a vibrational energy that influences the world around us. These vibrations interact with the energy fields that exist in everything, from the atoms in our body to the air we breathe and the universe itself. This concept aligns with the idea that we are not merely passive observers in life, but active creators, co-partners with God in bringing forth our experiences. Consider the way our thoughts directly impact our emotions. Positive, uplifting thoughts naturally create feelings of joy, gratitude, and peace, while negative or fearful thoughts can breed anxiety, stress, and despair. These emotions then influence our actions, interactions, and outcomes. It's a continuous loop. Thoughts lead to emotions. which lead to actions, which in turn shape our experiences. This cycle has the potential to either empower us or limit us, depending on the nature of our thoughts. Now let us take this a step further. When we begin to understand the depth of the connection between our thoughts and reality, we realize that our intentions hold immense creative power. Intentions are more than mere wishes or desires. They are focused, directed thoughts infused with purpose. When we set an intention, we align our conscious mind with the greater divine will. This alignment amplifies the energy behind our thoughts and sends ripples of creation into the world. The universe responds, and our intentions begin to manifest in the form of opportunities, connections, and circumstances. However, this process is not automatic. It requires conscious effort. Our minds are constantly bombarded with external stimuli, the media, other people's opinions, and the fluctuations of daily life. If we are not careful, we can easily fall into patterns of negative thinking, allowing fear and doubt to dominate our thoughts. To harness the full power of the mind, we must learn to discipline our thoughts, to become aware of the internal narrative we are telling ourselves, and to deliberately shift it toward positivity, faith, and trust. This is not to say that we should ignore challenges or deny difficult emotions, but rather that we should choose to hold a vision of possibility, growth, and divine alignment, even in the face of adversity. This leads us to a deeper truth. The mind is a bridge between the seen and the unseen. It is through the power of our thoughts that we tap into the invisible realm of energy and spirit. God, being the source of all creation, has endowed us with the ability to co-create alongside Him. Through focused, intentional thought, we can direct our energy to bring about change, healing, and transformation, both within ourselves and in the world around us. The mind's creative power is not just confined to our external reality. It also plays a pivotal role in our inner reality, shaping our self-position, beliefs, and even our sense of purpose. If we believe that we are unworthy or incapable, we unknowingly create a reality in which those beliefs are validated. Conversely, when we recognize our inherent divinity and the power that flows through us, we create a life full of possibility, resilience, and grace. One of the most profound aspects of the mind's power is its ability to heal. Modern science and ancient wisdom both affirm that the mind can influence the body's physical health. From the placebo effect, where individuals experience real physical changes simply because they believe in the power of healing, to practices like meditation, affirmations, and visualization, we see that the mind is not merely a passive observer of our physical health, but an active participant in shaping it. The power of the mind also extends to our spiritual development. As we consciously work to align our thoughts with God's will, we open ourselves to a deeper understanding of our purpose. The more we train our minds to seek divine wisdom, love, and clarity, the more we tune into the higher consciousness that connects all of us to the divine source. Through this alignment, we begin to experience a profound sense of peace, knowing that we are co-creating our lives with God. In conclusion, the mind is an incredibly powerful tool in shaping reality. When we understand the true nature of the mind as a vessel of divine power, we realize that our thoughts are not just fleeting mental events. They are seeds that, when nurtured with intention and faith, can grow into transformative experiences. By aligning our minds with the divine, we can become powerful creators of our own reality, healing ourselves, manifesting our dreams, and living a life that reflects the infinite potential that God has placed within us. When we speak of embracing the infinite potential within us, we are acknowledging a profound and often untapped truth, that each of us, as divine beings created by God, carries within us a vast reservoir of power, wisdom, and creativity. This potential is not something we acquire or learn through external sources. It is an intrinsic part of our nature, woven in the very fabric of who we are. We are not limited by our circumstances or past experiences. We are capable of transformation, growth, and becoming more than we ever imagined. At the core of this realization is the understanding that we are divine expressions of God. Just as God is infinite, boundless, and all-powerful, so too are we, at our essence, infinite beings. Our true nature is not confined to our physical bodies or our fleeting thoughts. We are spiritual beings, equipped with everything we need to live a life of purpose, fulfillment, and greatness. The challenge is not to seek something outside ourselves, but to awaken to the infinite potential already present within us. One of the most important aspects of embracing our infinite potential is recognizing and releasing self-imposed limitations. Too often, we limit ourselves by internalizing the beliefs and messages we've received throughout our lives. Whether it's from society, family, or our own doubts, we may come to believe that we are not enough, that we are too small, too weak, too flawed to achieve greatness. These beliefs are not truth. They are simply the conditioning of our minds, the product of external forces that have shaped how we see ourselves. When we shift our perspective and begin to recognize our divinity, we see that these limitations are not inherent in our being. They are simply illusions that have been constructed over time. We are not our mistakes, our failures, or the challenges we have faced. We are divine creations, capable of greatness, capable of transforming our lives and the lives of those around us. Once we acknowledge this truth, we begin to break free from the chains of limitation and step into the boundless potential that resides within us. Another essential aspect of embracing our infinite potential is developing a growth mindset. A growth mindset is the belief that our abilities, intelligence, and creativity are not fixed traits, but can be cultivated and expanded through effort, perseverance, and learning. It's the understanding that we are always evolving, always growing, and that challenges are not obstacles but opportunities for growth. This mindset allows us to approach life with a sense of curiosity and possibility, knowing that every experience, whether joyful or painful, contributes to our development. When we cultivate a growth mindset, we also recognize that failure is not final, but rather it is a part of the process of growth. The infinite potential within us means that we are not defined by a single event, a single mistake, or a single setback. We have the ability to learn, adapt, and rise again, stronger and more resilient. Embracing this truth opens up new realms of possibility, as we no longer fear failure, but instead see it as an essential part of the journey toward realizing our divine potential. To further embrace our infinite potential, we must also cultivate self-belief, the unwavering confidence that we are worthy of achieving our highest aspirations. Self-belief is not the same as arrogance or ego. It is the deep trust in the divine guidance that flows through us. It is knowing that we have the inner resources to rise above challenges, to manifest our desires, and to walk the path that God has set for us. When we truly believe in our potential, we begin to see opportunities where others might see obstacles, and we take bold actions that align with our highest vision for our lives. Embracing our infinite potential also means understanding the importance of purpose. Each of us has a unique gift, a specific calling, and a divine mission that is woven into the very essence of who we are. Our potential is not limitless in the sense that it's scattered everywhere, but rather it is directed toward a specific purpose. The more we align with this purpose, the more we tap into our true power. This alignment doesn't just bring personal success, it brings fulfillment, meaning, and a sense of peace. When we are walking in alignment with our divine purpose, we experience flow and synchronicity, and the universe begins to conspire in our favor, guiding us toward our highest potential. Furthermore, embracing the infinite potential within us requires surrender, a willingness to trust in God's plan for our lives. Often, our greatest limitations arise when we resist what is unfolding in our lives. We try to control everything, thinking we know what is best, when in fact, surrendering to divine guidance allows us to access an even greater flow of creativity, wisdom, and power. By trusting that God has endowed us with everything we need and that He is guiding us every step of the way, we open ourselves up to limitless possibilities. Lastly, we must also cultivate gratitude for the infinite potential within us. Gratitude is a powerful force that shifts our focus from what we lack to what we have. When we are grateful for our gifts, our talents, and the opportunities we have, we naturally begin to expand our vision and reach for even greater heights. Gratitude reinforces the belief that we are abundant and capable, and it allows us to fully step into the divine potential that resides within. In conclusion, embracing the infinite potential within us is not about striving for perfection or seeking external validation. It is about awakening to the truth of who we are. Divine beings with limitless capacity for growth, creation, and transformation. When we recognize that we are expressions of God's will, we begin to trust in our ability to create, to heal, to love, and to live with purpose. This awareness empowers us to break free from limitations, cultivate self-belief, and step into the fullness of our divine potential. Knowing that we are not just living for ourselves, but for a greater purpose that serves the world. Surrendering to divine will and embracing the power of faith is one of the most profound and transformative practices we can engage in as we align ourselves with the divine presence that guides our lives. At its core, surrender is about releasing the illusion of control and trusting in the greater plan that is unfolding for us. It is a conscious act of allowing God to take the lead, knowing that He knows what is best for us, even when we cannot see the full picture. We live in a world that prizes control and independence. From a young age, we are taught to take charge of our lives, make decisions, and shape our destiny. While personal responsibility is important, we can sometimes take this control to the extreme, trying to force outcomes, dictate every aspect of our lives, and resist anything that doesn't fit into our preconceived plans. This constant striving for control often leads to stress, anxiety, and frustration. It also creates a sense of disconnection from the divine source that is meant to guide us. Surrendering to divine will doesn't mean becoming passive or abandoning personal agency. Rather, it is the realization that there is a greater power at work, one that is wiser and more loving than we could ever be on our own. It is the act of releasing the need to control every detail and instead allowing God to direct the flow of our lives, trusting that His plan is unfolding in perfect timing, even if we cannot always understand it in the moment. Surrender is not about giving up. It's about letting go of resistance and opening ourselves up to divine guidance and divine timing. When we surrender to God's will, we step into a space of deep trust and peace. Instead of fighting against the currents of life, we align ourselves with them, knowing that whatever happens is part of a larger divine purpose. This trust allows us to move through life with less fear and more acceptance, understanding that every experience, no matter how difficult, serves as... In order to surrender fully, we must cultivate deep faith. Faith is not a passive belief. It is an active trust in God's presence, power, and love. It is the belief that no matter what happens, we are always being guided, supported, and loved by a divine force that is infinitely wiser and more compassionate than we could ever understand. Faith allows us to let go of the need for certainty and control, because we know, deep in our hearts, that everything is happening for our highest good. The power of faith is not only spiritual, it is also profoundly practical. Faith strengthens us in times of doubt and challenge. It helps us hold on to hope when things seem impossible. It is the belief that even when we cannot see a way forward, there is always a path, and it is guided by a force far greater than ourselves. Faith teaches us to trust not only in the outcome, but in the process of life. It assures us that we are not alone on our journey and that even in moments of hardship, God is with us, guiding us toward a greater understanding of ourselves and our purpose. In practice, surrendering to divine will and embracing faith means accepting that we don't have all the answers. This can be deeply humbling, especially in a culture that values self-sufficiency and problem solving. But true strength lies in knowing when to release our grip on the outcome and trust that we are being led by a divine hand. It's about allowing ourselves to be vulnerable, to admit that we don't have the control we think we do, and to open ourselves to the infinite possibilities that God has in store for us. This doesn't mean we abandon all effort. Faith and surrender are not passive states. They require an active choice to trust, even when we cannot see the next step. We are still called to take action, to move forward, to follow the guidance that is being given to us. But we do so with the awareness that we are not alone in our efforts. God is always present, and His wisdom is constantly available to us. When we align ourselves with His will, we find that our actions are more purposeful, our decisions are clearer, and our path is illuminated in ways we could not have imagined on our own. One of the most beautiful aspects of surrender is that it often leads to the unfolding of miracles. When we surrender our limited vision to a higher power, we open ourselves to experiences and outcomes that exceed our expectations. God's plan for us is far greater than any plan we could have imagined on our own. What we may see as setbacks or disappointments may actually be the very stepping stones that lead us to something more beautiful and aligned with our higher purpose. At its deepest level, surrendering to divine will brings inner peace. Life can be chaotic, and external circumstances can often create turbulence. But when we trust that everything is unfolding according to a divine plan, we no longer feel the need to react with anxiety or fear. Instead, we can rest in the peace of knowing that we are part of something much larger than ourselves. This peace is not dependent on external conditions, but comes from an inner knowing that we are exactly where we are supposed to be, and that God is with us every step of the way. Moreover, surrendering to God's will also frees us from the burden of judgment of ourselves and others. We let go of the need to control outcomes and allow people, situations, and circumstances to be as they are. This leads to deeper compassion, both for ourselves and for others, as we realize that everyone is on their own unique journey, guided by divine wisdom. Surrender is ultimately an act of love, as it opens us to the flow of divine grace and compassion that surrounds us. Faith and surrender also empower us to embrace life's challenges with resilience. When we face hardship, it can be easy to feel defeated or to question the meaning of it all. But when we place our trust in divine will, we understand that every challenge has a purpose. Whether it's a lesson we need to learn, an opportunity to grow, or a deeper connection to our faith, we recognize that challenges are part of the divine plan. Faith and surrender also improves our connections to our purpose when relating to faith. We recognize that challenges are part of the divine plan. Faith gives us the strength to persevere, and surrender allows us to release the need to fight against our circumstances. In conclusion, surrendering to divine will and embracing the power of faith is a transformative process that brings us closer to God and aligns us with the greater plan for our lives. It allows us to release control, trust in divine timing, and find peace in knowing that we are always being guided toward our highest good. Through faith, we recognize that we are not alone in this journey. We are supported by a divine presence that loves us unconditionally. As we surrender, we tap into a flow of wisdom, power, and grace that empowers us to live with purpose, peace, and love.